Yo. We're gonna try this one more time, y'all, because this definitely was taking too long. But welcome. Uh welcome to the live stream version of This Is Real Talk. I'm your boy, I is real, and we are gonna touch on a couple topics today. I'm not trying to make it long because I do gotta work later on. But I went back to my old platform of StreamYard. I probably could do something different, something new, but I just wanted to come on here real quick and touch on some things real quick. So we're gonna jump right in. All right, we're gonna jump right in. So, um, what I'm tracking right now is actually, bro, of course. Let me go here and share. Right, that'd be smart. That'd be smart to share what I'm doing. Right. So we're gonna wait. We're gonna give it a little bit of time so people can hop in this bad boy. So we're gonna hop in this thing. We're gonna hop in this thing. Man, people have been hitting me up about some stuff, bruh. Bro, Russ really retired too, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, yo, man. I'm still kind of flabbergasted about that one because I don't know, bro. It just don't even feel real seeing Russ. Um, seeing Russ. Uh, yeah, just seeing Russ not really be in the league at this point, bro. But we'll touch on it a little bit. You know, we'll touch on it a little bit because we definitely got a lot of things happen in the news cycle. Um, got a lot of things happening in the news cycle, bro. Like, I feel like maybe it's like too much stuff happening in the news cycle, but yeah, we just letting this bit breathe for a little bit, y'all. We'll just breathe. Sticker, little link. There we go. I'm feeling old too. Trying to do stuff, man. Your boy live. All right, we're gonna do that one. And then we'll do this one. Okay. We'll do this one. Bruh. It don't take that long to load up. It don't take that long to load up. There we go. All right, now let's do this. Same thing on this. Boom, create. Boom. Bang. Do a sticker here. Do a joint. What else we got? I got a couple topics, but again, in my normal fashion, we're gonna start at the 5 minute mark. That's really the start, right? So, um, yeah, there's a couple topics I saw today. Obviously, we got the biggest one is the days at sea, for this carrier, and we're gonna touch a little bit more. Obviously, I'll use a little bit of my limited background to discuss what I understand to be what's happening and the posture of war that we're doing. I was never at the strategic level, so I'm not gonna let me back up. There are three different levels of war. You got your tactical level, which is your lowest one. You have your operational level. Most people understand operations, combat operations, and then you have strategic level. Strategic level is think about you're dealing with a lot of generals in the room. Um, oh, make sure I was good. So we had the 5 minute mark, y'all. So let's start off again. Welcome to This Is Real Talk. I'm your boy, I is real. Isaac Israel. And again, today we're going to touch on some topics that are currently happening for this week, and hope you enjoy it. So obviously, with everything that we do, there are some low-hanging fruit. There are some commonality stuff that you're hearing from other broadcasters or the people in general when you come to a live feed, right? But the whole purpose here is we're going to talk about a couple things that I would say are not mentioned or not talked about or really not even thought of whenever we talk about these things, right? So I'm not shining out here, y'all, coming on some real regular stuff, but we're going to make it do what it do. All right, so our first topic, I do have a video, got a couple videos that we're going to play here, but our first topic is we're going to touch on the situation out in where multiple sailors are trying to jump overboard a USS Carrier out by the Strait of Hormuz, right? So for those who don't know, obviously, again, if you've been under a rock, America has joined into the war with Israel in regards to Iran, and there's a lot of back and forth of why we're there, why we're still there, why we joined the war. Again, we'll say that for another stream. But the focus here is going to be on what's happening to these sailors out here, right? So again, we'll play this video. We'll kind of get a quick little timeline of what's happening, and yeah, we'll go from there.
A shocking new report that multiple sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln have tried to jump overboard amid poor conditions and mental stress on the ship. This is according to new reporting from the Military Times, which spoke to the wife of one of those sailors, who says she's spoken to her husband only a handful of times since he tried to jump. He is now on a medical hold. The Military Times is also reporting severe food shortages on board and that sailors are running out of just basic needs: toothpaste, deodorant, soap. This crew has been at sea for 9 months amid Trump's war in Iran. That includes 250 consecutive days without setting foot on land. 250 consecutive days. That is a record. Out front now, Natalie Olivero. She is the Military Times journalist who broke the story, and she is also a Navy veteran. Natalie, I appreciate your time. I mean, the details you have in this story are really stunning. I mean, my jaw drops. You know, we're talking about the USS Abraham Lincoln.
Is she like permanent duck lips here? Like, what is that, like filler or collagen? I don't know. Whatever. It just threw me off there. But
and you're talking about things that I think people struggle to understand are happening in the U.S. military. You've spoken directly with some of these families, and you're reporting on incidents involving sailors apparently trying to jump overboard. You spoke to the wife of one of them, I know, and her husband served in the Navy for more than a dozen years, 13 years. So what have you learned?
Thanks for having me, Erin, and for covering this story. Speaking with Miss Saloma, she is.
I definitely played the wrong video because this is 9 minutes long. We're not going to listen to 9 minutes long. But again, overall, right, we got a whole bunch of sailors and Marines pretty much parked. Now, I think the weirdest part about this, right, is, yes, is it normal for the U.S. to park a carrier outside, right? Yeah. When we park a carrier outside, y'all, think of it like this. Y'all talking all that craziness, right? And we're gonna pull up outside your house. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna step in, we're not gonna come out the car, but we're gonna pull outside your house, 4 or 5 cars, you know, we just gonna post, right? And really that's just to say, if you want to go that route, we can. But we know where you live, we will pull up, and we're gonna, you know, again, it's a show of force. That's what it really is. So when you're looking at this, right, the most surprising thing is the turnover or the lack of turnover, because that's really what should have happened. And that's the question I would say I have, right? I could probably call some buddies up and see what their opinion about this, especially my surface warfare officers. But again, it's just really weird that even with this ship in the way it is, why wouldn't they have a turnover or relief where they bring another carrier out there and let the other one go home? Because at this point, again, 250 days. Shout out to my boy who is on the previous record for days out at sea. I mean, it's no joke. You know, that stuff, you know, you talk about, I think the biggest thing is talking about supplies running out. You know, you go, I'm not gonna say, you know, you talk about stir crazy if you're in the house all day. Imagine being in a ship. And for those who haven't been to ship, you know, we have to look at other videos for that, because that's just a lot. But my point here is, I think the question again I'm focusing on is, these are tough times, right? These are tough things, tough situations to go through. Is America built like that at this point in time? Is America built for this? And my opinion is no, right? You know, there's a theory that, you know, we are too free, right? Because being too free allows us to have, and I'm not trying to minimize anybody's plight here, but by being too free, it may come off as we are fighting about things in the news cycle, in our local government, our local politics, that aren't really life or death things, right? You know, we might hear the coined phrase of first world problems. I think that's realistic, right? So when you're talking about bringing these types of conditions to a current American military that is training differently from the previous generations, right? Previous generations of war fighters, I would say, were hardened, right, by maybe some things that were abusive, but that abuse led to hardened warriors and soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, whatever. Now, especially again with stress cards and other things that protect the soldier, protect that military member, is it preparing us for a time of war that we've seen in the past, right? And again, there could be arguments about, well, that type of war is not really accurate. And I don't think so. No, I don't think that we'll never see that type of war again. And you know, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull up another vid here, because again, y'all, I think this stuff. I think this stuff here is vital, because again, I think when you have to look at it from the point of view of war fighting, here we go. This guy named Nick Irving, he had a good quote I just seen recently. Yeah, here we go. I think this was it.
You know, you touched on something, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Why won't we, as the U.S., Trump as the president, just go ham? Just say, yo, I've made too many threats. I've given you guys too many final warnings.
Come on.
I have had too much tough talk.
Come on.
I'm just unleashing hell. Y'all want to see what we're about? You got a taste of it on February 28th with Epic Fury. But now I'm going to show you what the U.S. can really do. Why not go there?
You know what? Every warfighter I've talked to, been around, served with, myself included, I was asking those same questions back in the early 2000s. I think there's a couple reasons, mainly because I think that the American people just can't stomach it. I don't think the average person can stomach what war would really entail when it comes to winning it.
Yeah. Now, I'll be straight up. That's probably the best. That's probably, I think, one of the honest opinions I've seen or heard when it comes to us in war, even as we go forward, right? Like, a lot of people are not paying attention to how we lost the Vietnam War, how we lost the war in Afghanistan, right? How we didn't end the terrorism. We didn't end or change the regime in Vietnam, right? They pretty much, again, that guerrilla warfare style, that the controlling the media, controlling the influence, and weighing on the American people are not built to withstand seeing these images of soldiers, of military members through that mentally, or to prepare yourself mentally, you know? But again, if we were to go full scale war at this point, would the American people be able to see that? I'll be straight up. I think what we've seen a couple of deaths already. And rest in peace to those soldiers and all those military members that have lost their life already during this conflict. But we've already seen a couple of people pass, and the government has been very hush about these things because they know if these pictures get out, the faces get out, the names get out, this will be all over the news, and it would already start to play on the heartstrings of Americans, which is what I would say everybody knows that about us. They know our Achilles heel, which is that. So again, good observation and opinion from my man Nick Irving here. But I think that's something that we'll let him keep talking here.
I don't think we could stomach it. Financially, we would be better off because it would only take a few. But financially, we could stomach it. But morally, I don't think we could. We were in uproar about the.
One more point here. So he talks about that financial, right? And for those who don't know, John McCain and a couple other people, there was a lot of people who are for the war machine, right? Now, the war machine, if you're not familiar with that theory or that concept, the war machine is pretty much the economy booms when there's a war, right? And the reason why it booms is because more production is needed. You're talking about more production, more logistics, more supplies. Everything goes up, and it's kind of like a blanket bill. Now, what they don't tell you though is where this money is being allocated to, and there's a lot of double dipping. There's a lot of contractors or contracts that are given to certain people who are working in certain places in the government, and at the same time, their companies getting picked to do this type of job. So you kind of have to understand that piece as well, where people are utilizing the war machine to, yes, it stimulates the economy, but you also have to understand that it's also going to do some negative things, right? But again, it's the negativity would be, hey, like people are going to die, so it's really worth $1, or obviously new jobs get created, but is it really worth it if people are going to die? But that's the war machine, and that's the financial piece he's talking about there.
I forget how many hundreds of kids, little girls, got killed in that school from one of the bombs we dropped, messed up or whatever. Dropped the bomb on one of them, that girls' school in Iran, killed a couple hundred of them. If you can't stomach that, there's no way you're going to stomach what I'm not going to say capable of. No, we are. Because like when I was I knew from at a young age, like in order to win this thing, and I served under a couple of presidents when I was during the time of war, and the rules of engagement would change overnight, monthly, yearly, whatever. To win this thing, like when I say you got to kill everybody, you bust open all the doors. Like go back to Iraq. You know how you would have won that war? And it's fucked up. Like it's sick to say, but when you kick open those doors at night, I don't care if you have a weapon or not. Every man, every military age man, male, you gotta shoot him. Gotta shoot him. You gotta kill them all. You gotta kill them all. That's like the only way. And if you don't have enough bullets or you just the stomach to do it, I mean, when I was that's what not just me, but we were all about. Like we wanted to kill as many people as we possibly could under the rules of engagement that we were given. Like I said, I was in during a time shortly after the invasion. It was if you had a cell phone or a shovel, when we rolled up on target, you got to pop them.
Facts. Facts. The crazy part is we had to study that, right? So when I went to Afghanistan, it was 2017. And at that time, you got to understand the climate is nothing even close to when Nick Irving was there. So even hearing his viewpoint of how the ROE changed throughout his time, ours was completely passive. Like we couldn't really do much. It was share the road. That was the sentiment. It was share the road. And we're thinking these people trying to kill us, and you want us to share the road. Now again, things happened, and again, rest in peace to the Marines who lost their life after we were there for my rotation. But again, it's sad because that's what we were being told, to share the road. And again, I get it though, because at that time we weren't really trying to be aggressors. We were trying to be more counterinsurgery is crazy. Counterinsurgency, Vice being more not vocal, but be more aggressive. So
that was at the most lenient I've seen rules of engagement. It didn't last long, but there was a time that if a dude was outside on his cell phone and we rolled up, you get hit. You get hit. To win this war in Iran, and if you don't want to put boots on the ground because we're all tired of seeing 18, 19, 20-year-old kids sitting home in body bags with a flag draped on top, I mean, do you go nuclear at that point? Do you really want to turn it into a glass parking lot? Do you really want to do that? How many more enemies do you want after that? If that's really what you want, just know you're going to have way more enemies than what you started off with. Way more people want to kill you. You flexed your muscle, you killed everybody, but what does that leave us? Like it puts us in a really bad spot. And I also think that the news shouldn't be over there either.
And that's a good call right there too, right? You know, when if you go block 3 warfare, right? And forgive me, it's been a while. Block 3 warfare. If I can spell warfare. So here we go. Block 3 warfare. I guess they're talking about it failed. But Block 3 warfare was made by my man General Krulik. Banff, badass. But pretty much it's full scale, like block to block, everything out, right? So yeah, I'm trying to see where it says that. Trying to give y'all the anyway, long story short, I'm not trying to bore y'all with too much literature, but pretty much if you go into that type of that type of warfare where here we go. So yeah, it's a block 3 warfare engagement categorized by hostile, neutral, and friendly forces all at the same time in a very geographical limited area, i.e. 3 blocks, right? But if you go into there thinking that you're going to come in here and just wipe out the entire, you know, what we did in Iran, Iraq, where we just came in there and said, yo, you got this much time to leave. If you don't leave, everybody here is going to be considered hostile and we're going to kill. Unless you're conquering that place, it don't work. It's not going to work because you just made all these kids hate you because you killed their brother, you killed their dad, you killed their uncles. Like you killed all the men. All the military age men are dead. So, and I gotta get hip to YouTube's streaming thing because I know they don't like the K word. But if you do that and you're just gonna make more enemies and you make the new age of terrorists to come up in the world. So that doesn't work again unless you're gonna conquer. And if America don't want to be seen as a conqueror. But at this point, I don't even know if that might be the best bet. If you're gonna do all this, you might as well get something out of it. Obviously, that will cause World War III. But you can't just be taking it. But we took the president of Venezuela, nothing happened. But I think that's again another good point that we're just not, the way we're trying to fight this war is not like the way we fought before. And the reason being is we can't take the moral images of what's happening, right? So again, that's Nicholas Irvin. You know, again, he has a ton of interviews talking about this stuff. So if you want to get more hip on that, you can. What I want to touch on next, and this will probably be my last topic for the day because again, I gotta go to work. Let's see. What is it called? There we go. So for those who don't know, we do have,
to those who fear Islam, we say simply come.
So for those who don't know, I am part of the Charlotte Muslim Caucus, and recently CMC was in the news to discuss a situation that's happening in Mooresville. So Mooresville, North Carolina, if y'all don't familiar, if you're in the Charlotte area, you gotta go a little bit north. It's like near the Lake Norman area. But long story short, people trying to build a mosque. That's it. We're trying to build a mosque. Hey, we want a mosque to pray and to be, to have a place. And this is called Such a Ruckus. So I'll play it.
Meet us. Come visit our mosque. Ask us directly what we believe so we can tell you from experience. Or come to the homeless shelter where we feed our homeless brothers and sisters every Saturday a hot breakfast and meal. Or come to our clothing distributions, or when we go out to the streets and provide food for those on the streets, or sustenance and provisions for those who are in need. Do charity work with us and learn who exactly we are and the impact that we have on our city and our county and our state and our country. We will defend our faith and our rights with dignity, justice, and good. We pray that moments like these do not divide our communities, but instead become opportunities for us to know one another. We are your neighbors. We are part of this community. And our doors remain open to the conversation, understanding, and peace. You fear that which you don't know, so we encourage everybody to get to know us.
People in Charlotte's Islamic community are now showing their support for Muslim neighbors in Mooresville. It comes after residents in the town protested against a proposed mosque. And they say the constant attacks on the Muslim community are unfair and un-American. Queen City News reporter Matt Stell has more on what was said in Uptown today.
The building requirements, building code, traffic laws, or whatever it may be, that should be the only portion of.
Yo, shout out to Imam, bro. I see you. Hey, I see you, bro.
Complaint for a mosque or masjid to be built.
That's the message from representatives of Charlotte's Muslim community in response to the pushback from dozens of Iredell County residents last week opposed to a mosque being built in Mooresville.
Islam is more than a religion. It is a political regime with the ultimate goal of takeover in regions and nations.
It's not our mission to replace the Constitution. It is our mission to make it work for all of us.
The Islamic Center of Lake Norman has owned the property for years and has already broke ground on the new facility. The Charlotte group says they're in full support of their fellow Muslims in Mooresville, and that decades-old rhetoric like calling Islam an evil ideology or that Muslims are attempting to spread Sharia law is hurtful.
I know no other country has home. Yet for some folks, my religious identity as a Muslim makes me seem less American.
Jesus says, if you greet only people you know, what are you doing that's different? If you only love those who love you, what reward will you get?
Leaders say the Charlotte metro area is home to more than 30,000 Muslims and are inviting those not familiar with Islam to come learn about a religion that they say preaches peace and understanding.
And a mosque is no different than a church, than a temple, than any place of worship in America.
In Charlotte, Matt Stell, Queen City News.
So we got a little bit of the pushback, right? There's another video I could probably pull up, but to spare some time here. But again, I think the biggest thing that came from me seeing this, right? This pushback, this I gotta call it anger, right? But I think the anger comes from misunderstanding, right? I've obviously, since certain things have happened in my life, I've became way more. I'm not gonna say way more. I've started practicing the religion, learning the religion, kind of from scratch, right? And I think the biggest thing is with me in my journey, right, through this world, in my religious world, to become a better person, become a better version of me. I have, posted more Islamic things, Islamic quotes and stuff like that. And I've had more people contact me, asking questions about, hey, how could you believe this? Why are you doing this? Like, well, Muhammad was such a wicked man and, A, B, and C. And I always look and I'm like, I don't, and I'll just speak from America, right? Obviously people tend to turn to the Middle East when they look at Muslims. I don't hear anybody talking about Malaysia, right? Which is a Muslim country, which, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been a couple of years ago, but Malaysia had Malaysia did have a prime minister, a female prime minister. Malaysia, female president, prime minister. Let's see what we got. Yeah, okay. So point is, first female president in 2025. President of Malaysian Institute of Management. historic milestone in the organization. Man, why is it Google, bro? Google. I don't know why I went to Yahoo. Malaysia, female president, first female president of Malaysia. Okay. Led by a king with a prime minister. Okay. If you meant the first deputy prime minister, thank you, AI. Yeah, who served from 2018 to 2020. So a Muslim country had a female prime minister before America. Like, but nobody highlights these things, right? We always going to look at Saudi Arabia. We're going to look at the Middle East. We're going to look at what's happening, right? But again, it's not to push hate back towards the people who have questions. If we want to have a conversation, what makes us human, we can always have a conversation, right? But to spread things that you heard about a religion or heard about people and put that as law is truly a crime against just humanity, right? Sharia law is a big topic, right? And again, I'm no scholar here, y'all. I'm not a scholar. But some of the things when it comes to Sharia law is the first rule is you have to follow the law of the land, right? That's what Islam teaches us. So I can't just come into the United States, Canada, Mexico, and just start saying Sharia law, we here, let's go. No, you have to follow the law of the land. And if you break the law of the land, then you are going against Islam, because the law of the land is one that I'm not gonna say supersedes Sharia law, but again, it's disrespectful to come to somebody's home and not follow the rules and regulations. You know what I'm saying? Why do I come in your house, put my feet up on your couch, and you say, "Hey man, can you take your shoes off?" And I'm like, "Nah, you wouldn't have me over your house anymore," right? So again, what we're seeing in this current situation with these folks that are pushing back on the masjid being built in the Lake Norman area, again, it's a lot of false information that's being pushed, right? A lot of false information and a lot of negativity is being pushed versus it just being more of, hey, they can just build a masjid. I don't see this when it comes to churches. I don't see this when it comes to and I excuse myself, other religious temples. But for some reason, and I understand it from 9/11 and other things, and what the government has portrayed this to be, a religious war, when it's not. It's not a religious war. It wasn't Christians versus Muslims when it came to 9/11. It truly was countries fighting, battling for resources. And I think we have enough information at this point that's come out that we should know this, right? Again, do your research if you want to understand more about why we went to 9/11, what was uncovered, what was not uncovered, and what we've done, right? And I don't know how to change it, right? Because changing people's mindset is difficult. But at the end of the day, I think I gotta have the conversation. We gotta be willing to have the conversation and open to having a conversation for us to just move forward as people. I said this to somebody, a brother of mine from middle school. We were having a conversation about this, and I ain't even talked to homie in like years, right? But the first thing we do, we start talking about it because this is something that's close to him, is close to me. But at the end of the day, I said, hey man, I think we have more in common than uncommon, right? We're called people of the book if you're Jewish, Muslim, or Christian, right? We're called the book because we all are kind of focused on this unilateral idea of one God, right? And that's why we're people of the book. And it says in the Quran too, if you want to look it up. But if we focus on the differences so much, we're going to keep pushing ourselves away. We're always going to have differences. If you're telling me in 10 years, we're all going to be Muslim, no. We're all going to be Christian, no. We're all going to be Jewish, no. We're all going to be American, no. Like, human nature comes with divide, but the divide shouldn't make it so we can't coexist in peace. And I think that's where we messed up at. I think that's where, for some reason, the hatred and negativity that circles the world, especially, I'll just speak from the West, the Western world of America, it's so deep. It's so deep and it's so rooted, which is why I think, again, we have a lot of people feeling how they feel. So again, y'all, that's just some stuff I want to touch on. And I guess the last piece would be there was one more thing I could touch on. Let's see if I got some time. I got about 5 more minutes, so we'll do one more. We'll do some shout outs, right? Obviously, happy retirement to Russell Westbrook. I gotta look up my favorite Russell Westbrook. Yeah. This is probably no matter what.
Russ, did you guys lose this game or did the Jazz win this one?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Brody.
Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
He just turns around, bro. That's probably oh my gosh, bro. That is the funniest reaction. If I think about Westbrook, this is gonna be it, bro. Bro, that is the funniest. What did they ask him?
Did you guys lose this game or did the Jazz win this one?
Bruh, did y'all lose this game or did the Jazz win this one? What?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
He didn't go anywhere, y'all. He didn't go anywhere. He just turned around.
Russ, did you guys lose?
Bro, the fact that he just turned around is hilarious, bro. But again, big shout out and retirement to Brody. Wishing you much luck, man, in the future. I don't know. I think I wasn't ready for him to leave either. I thought he was going to get picked up. He had interest from what I think I heard the Wizards, and I heard it was Wizards and Sacramento. And I ain't gonna hold you, the Wizards. I thought if he went back to the Wizards, they actually would have been a good team to probably join up at this point, man. I think the Wizards is probably the sleeper team, right? Don't put out to Jackson or anybody, but I think the Wizards are the sleeper team that's going to come out the East. But again, Brody going out there, I think that would have been a good look for him. But he decided it was time to go. But I think the nostalgia of these moments and everything that we got going on, it's going to be sad, man. We got a couple more years probably of KD, literally a couple more years of LeBron and Steph. Man, Steph is old too. So I hope one of these young cats can come over and take the face of the league, because if I remember correctly, LeBron was in the league, came in the league when Kobe was still around, but Kobe was on his decline, but Kobe was on I think a couple years after Kobe started to decline. So we never had a break, like even Larry and Magic. If we're talking about the days of the media where the NBA really became its own Goliath, right? Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, that was a highlight there, right? Then we went to the Michael Jordan era, right? Then we went into the Kobe era, then we went into the LeBron era. So, and some people argue whether it's the Steph or LeBron era, whatever. We can talk about that later. But I'm really wanting to see. They keep talking about the face of the league. Obviously, it might be Wemby. I guess Wemby is going to be the new person if he has that transformation like Giannis. I mean, it's going to be scary, but we'll have to see what Wemby turns into. But again, just want to give a big shout out and salute to Russ, to Brody, for all that he's done for the game. I'm gonna play this one more time. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is
Russ, did you guys lose this game or did the Jazz win this one?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man? Bro, I'm out, man. That nigga's tripping.
Bro, he just turns around and he just has locking like, nah, I'm out. No, again. Oh, McElroy watched that all day. But yeah, y'all, again, I know I had to kind of come on here real quick and just give a couple of tidbits. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything. I got another screen here. Make sure I had all my topics I wanted to touch on. I think there was one more that I was looking at here. Oh, let me get out of here. I think there was one more. My CAI guy. CIA guy, whatever. So for those who have been, again, under a rock, my man here, John Karakou, if I'm saying his name right, he's been on a wave, y'all. Oh my gosh. I'm talking about just constant.
Since its creation in 1947, the CIA has
interview after interview after interview, right? And what he's been discussing is pretty much whistleblowing the CIA, right? Now, I don't think anything he's saying is really out the ordinary. To me, everything he's saying, at this point in my life, we can't be naive to how America moves. We already knew about the waterboarding. We already knew about how America was moving from the 9/11 situation and really what we were doing with the people that we were kidnapping and putting in Guantanamo Bay. That's already been put out there. So if you've been living under a rock or you're born, I don't even know, maybe 2000 and up, then go look at Guantanamo Bay, do a quick Google search. But again, I think the craziest things that he's been talking about are some of the things from his point of view of what the Geneva Convention says we can't do and what America or the CIA chose to do. So shout out to my man, Mark Lamont. This guy don't sleep either, bro. How he's on Al Jazeera 1 second and then doing a Joe Budden podcast the next second. Man, he's working over.
Carried out covert operations around the world, from overthrowing governments and abducting suspected enemies. You helped capture Abu Zubaydah.
Did and staffed Al-3. You know, we get to waterboarding, we get to sleep. That was the entry, and then we get to a whole lot of things that were never approved by the Justice Department. That was torture.
For you, enhanced interrogation's okay, torture's not, and there's a distinction between the two. Where does sleep deprivation fall on that?
Oh, I think sleep deprivation was worse than waterboarding. We killed people with sleep deprivation. The American Psychological Association says that for people suffering from sleep deprivation, they begin to lose their minds at day 7 with no sleep. They begin to die of organ failure at day 9 with no sleep. The CIA was authorized to keep people awake for up to 12 days.
Bruh. I'm trying to think the longest I stayed awake. And I think the longest I stayed awake had to be during infantry officer course. If you know, you know. We're not gonna say too much. But it was IOC. I was a 3-tac, so I was in there, you know, kind of nice in the springtime. But we were doing this exercise, and I ain't gonna hold you, man. We just kept getting nonstop missions. Like it was just, we get done, here's another one. We get done, here's another one. And we just going through the trails and hills of Quantico, Virginia. And I'm not gonna hold you. We were so tired. And I'm trying to remember, like, I can't remember how many hours we were up at this point. It had to be over 24, but we were so exhausted. We stopped and we all took a tactical halt, and everybody just kind of like, you know, so I think maybe somebody held security for us, but people just sat down. Cause usually when you do a ruck march, you sit down, right? Put your pack on, sit down. Your pack is really good for your back when you're chilling on the side of the road. But we're on this tank trail and we just stopped because people were like, yo, man, we got nothing left. And people just, man, we just knocked out. I don't even know how long it was, but we knocked out. But even then, man, I was so loopy from being up that long. I can't imagine 12 days of being up. Like 12 days. Yeah, I can see how people were dying because that's just crazy. But again, we talk about the waterboarding so much, and he's talking about the sleep deprivation was even worse, especially when you see some of how they were being made so they couldn't sleep.
We killed people. And when I say sleep deprivation, I mean you're chained to an eye bolt in the ceiling, so you can't sit or lay or get comfortable or support your own weight. You have to stand for 12 days.
Let's take the ethical piece away for just a moment, just for one moment.
Sure.
Is the information even credible?
See, that's really the $64,000 question.
It ain't. He just pretty much answers that. But
you've seen firsthand how intelligence is assessed and used inside of government.
When Ronald Reagan was the president, said no until this one. And it's because for the Israelis, Iran is an existential threat, just like Saddam Hussein's Iraq was an existential threat. And Muammar.
I mean, every U.S. president since the Clinton era has been asked to move the embassy.
They flew him to Israel
to be able to
the crime. Yes. Well, the Democrats didn't concede that authority. So they're going to profit from it. Blocks. And I was stopped 5 times for selfies. You know, the whole thing was about waterboarding and these enhanced interrogation techniques. I convinced myself that I was right and they were wrong, right? And I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the rule of law. Either we're going to be the good guys or we're not. But we can't pretend to be the good guys. We are supposed to be a shining beacon of hope for human rights and civil liberties. But we're not. I want us to be. But we can't pretend that we're this, this providentially created entity that can give hope to the rest of the world when we're not. We invade countries willy-nilly all the time. We don't respect human rights. We murder people on a grand scale. We don't respect our own people. We're the most over-criminalized country on the planet. In the United States, we have 5% of the world's population. We have 25% of the world's prison population. That's not normal. That's not something that we should aspire to. And so it started for me with human rights, and it became something much bigger. And then they insisted on imprisoning me, and they were stuck at 40.
Again, go check out the interview, y'all. It's a really good interview, and he's on a tier. I'm talking. I mean, you look this guy up. That's one. I typed in Al Jazeera because that was a good one that he had. But I mean, you type in CIA agent, type in this guy's name. This one's 2 hours long. This one's hour. Again, good stuff. Good stuff. If that stuff. Oh, I mean, he already went to 10 months ago. He went to Joe Rogan. Woo. So yeah, he's on a tour. He's on a tier right now. But my thing of what he said that really touched home for me was we can't do both. We cannot pretend as America to be the American dream, the shiny rainbow or opportunity land that we present to the world and the world's 911, right? We try to really paint that we're the 911 for the world in terms of responding. And the reality is we're not the good guys, right? We will do certain things out of our own self-interest to make it so that we can get what we want, right? And again, I think this is ringing even more true today based off of, again, what we're seeing, like this isn't a Democrat thing. This isn't a Republican thing. This is how our system of government works and how they will continue to do the things they need to do in order to preserve their self-interest. So, and again, I think at this point in the world, I think people are understanding that. I think people are understanding that America isn't that. America is we're a big dog in the pond, but I think people see the Achilles, right? That we have. I think people see the weaknesses that we have. We try to lead with the sword, and I think the sword doesn't win all the time. So, but again, y'all, I wanted to get on here, get the rust off. You know what I'm saying? Get a little something going for this stream tonight. I appreciate everybody rocking with me, whether it be for 1 second or for 45 seconds or for 47 minutes. So we'll have more topics. Okay, we'll have more topics, more things to again expand, right? And it's all about expanding our mind, y'all. It's about talking, expanding our mind, and just again having conversations. Like, are the questions that we're presenting, are they relevant? A lot of people are going to say, well, should those sailors be out that far? But let's ask the question: should we be there in the first place? What's the rotation plan? Why isn't there a rotation like this? There's other things that are happening here that just don't make sense. And it's not, it can't be a resource thing. We don't have another ship out there. We have ships. We have enough carriers. Again, shout out to Brody for his retirement. Wishing him nothing but luck in the future. Be on the lookout. Again, if you have questions about Islam, whether you're in Charlotte or not, Raleigh, or not even in North Carolina, reach out. Go to a masjid. Not going to hurt. I've been to churches, I don't know how many times. I can walk in a church. I don't feel somebody's about to come out there and just grab me or something like that. And like, he's a Muslim, get him out of here. No, I've been to churches show love. The masjid is going to show you love too. So, but again, and check out my man for all these interviews he's doing with these Spygates. And we'll see. Again, I think he's saying a lot of, I don't think he's saying anything that's going to put him in imprisonment, but again, he talks about that. So, but again, we'll be here next week, y'all, either Wednesday or Thursday. Try to give y'all something like a weekly list of rundown, probably about an hour. Again, I know we're coming up on the 50-minute mark. But again, hope y'all be safe. Y'all be good. Y'all have any questions, share, like, subscribe, talk to your homies, do stuff, whatever people say at the end of these streams. But we out of here. Thanks.